All right, we are live. Thank you, everybody, for coming in and welcome back to the Wednesday night live stream, Proud Masculine live stream. Um, so, tonight, we're going to get into the client who just recently came to me for a breakup. New client. I'm not going to disclose who, we'll call him Fred. Um, Going through a breakup, want to know what to do. He's panicking, he's heartbroken, devastated. Uh, he doesn't know which way is up or down. He doesn't know what to do next. He's in the depths, first week of a breakup. And I can tell you, that's hell. We've all been there. And this is where my whole brand kind of started centered around breakups, relationships, relationship recovery. Uh, and, that's my whole brand really centered around that. That's where I started. That's actually my specialization. That's what I've helped most people with. Now, through the process in which I encourage men and guide and lead men to take, it's just evolved into, a mindset, a level up, uh, identity. DT's in the house. Good to see you, brother. Uh, oh, look, we got our first question. I'm glad you're here, DT. Just keep an eye on that chat for me, brother. And I didn't forget about your stream idea. That's a good show. And we're going to do one on that. This seems to be pressing at the moment. That's why I didn't get to the DT actually came up with a really good stream topic. And we're going to get to that about red pill and the pros and cons. And we'll definitely do one on that. And I think I might even have a guest on there to go over that with me. Or I can take it solo, whatever. But greens, we got you covered, brother. Hang in there. Let me get a little bit into this. I want to go over a few things real quick, and we'll get straight to that, and I will get to your question. So, thank everybody for coming. If you didn't hit the like, please hit the like on the way in. Also, hit that subscribe and notification bell. And don't forget to leave comment. Activity. Get me into the algorithm. Help me out here. Help me grow this channel more. It's been grown since my buddy Joel, my boy, my partner in crime, who's not with us tonight again. We've limited our time because he does a lot, and he does a lot on his own already at Sobriety University. Great guy, great partner. Always love to have him, and he's a huge contributor to me, who sets all this stuff up for me. Do you think I know how to do this? The thumbnails and the StreamYard? No, I don't. That's Joel behind the scenes working magic, making it easy for me to get my message out there. So thank you, Joel. You're here in spirit, brother. And so coming up, we got a few shows next week. I'm going to have Ryan Fowler, who was one of the two hypnotherapists named Ryan, back for part 2 to go over some of his stuff and his trauma healing and an identity trauma and overcoming subconscious limiting beliefs work in his programs that he's going to go over a little bit. I'm going to try to get him to do a little live hypnosis. We're talking about it. So if everybody's here and available, you just put your earbuds in and lay back and you can follow the hypnosis. It's really good shit. Really good shit. I've done multiple sessions. Change your life. Change your life. And there's other work to do after that. So don't think you do a 30-minute promo with him and you healed. It's not how it works. Matter of fact, none of this stuff works like that. And I think we all pretty intelligent people here at Proud Masculine's community to know you don't do things once and you get a change. It takes months, sometimes years of repetition, work, commitment, and discipline to enact a change. But it's quality and it's lasting. Building your confidence, reshaping your identity, reshaping your body. Like all this stuff takes work. There's years of work that have to be undone, but it's a lot shorter process to recreate than it is to from where you started and where you are now. So don't get overwhelmed by the fact. But that's just it. The quality is in the duration and the amount of effort you put into it. It's directly proportional to the work you're doing and the actions you're taking. And so that's what I have up. After that, we're going to do another Thursday show so we can have Lysander Collegio back on for part 2, which I promise y'all the part 1 was good. The part 1 was out of this world. And he's going to get into the second half after he came home from Afghanistan and the things he's going through and where he's at. So we're going to do the second half of his life from Afghanistan to now. And we'll also make him available to answer some questions too. And if you haven't seen that one, go look that one up. Go back and watch the live stream. And he also has, he's an author. He's written 2 books. Really interesting stuff. He definitely has. Look, I love the guy like a brother. Do we see eye to eye on everything? No, but he's got some great points. He's a great leader, and he's a well-intended man who is dedicated to putting a dent in the universe and affect a change, a better change for people around him. That's why we're so close, and that's why I respect and love him for who he is. And that's about it. Any other things, I'll keep us up to date as we go along next Wednesday. If I have something to put in the community messages, I will. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Proud Masculine, on TikTok at Proud Masculine. Easy to find. I'm very easy to find. And if you need my services, whether you're looking at you're in the middle of a breakup, greens, hire me for coaching and let me show you how to put things back on track. If you want to get your ex back, if you want to move on, if you just have no idea what to do next, come see me and I'll show you exactly what to do to enact a change. This is not stuff that I've watched a couple of months of YouTube videos. This is tried and tested on the battlefield. This is my life experience. These are things that I've done and been through and have accomplished in my own life through this very process, and still do. I'm still thriving. I'm still growing. And I hope I keep growing till the day I die, because this is not a destination. This is a journey, our lives. And there's always, always, always room for something better if you open yourself up to it and you're committed. So we'll get right into it here. I have a client came to me this week, a new client, hit me up, saw my videos, tracked me down, Instagram, DM'd me, got him a session, just going through a breakup with a girl for a year and a half. And it's like most people who are broken up with, the dynamics of a breakup. There's a dumper and a dumpee. The person's doing the dumping and the person's getting dumped. And, in the beginning, most oftentimes, the dumpee is like, you're caught off guard. You're like, holy shit. And I've had the same thing happen to me. And it usually comes from a person that you never suspect would ever break up with you. And that could be part of where the problem is, but I'll get into that after. So, of course, he was blindsided. And he's in the depths. He's in the grips of the beginnings of a breakup, which is confusion, grief, denial, pain, anxiety, depression, anger, sadness, sleepless nights, loss of appetite, lack of focus and concentration. You got to remember, all these things that are day to day that we kind of don't even pay attention, that are on autopilot. And being in a relationship is one of those. And we begin to take these things for granted. And we don't even recognize the chemical makeup of ourselves from day to day. Now, you recognize if you get into, like if you are threatened or afraid, you get that fight or flight or freeze response. That's a dumping of adrenaline, cortisol, elevated heart rate, shortness of breath. Like it's a survival mechanism built in to help us deal with fear and danger, right? And there's also things that come we have the same reaction to having somebody in your life day to day. That security, that love, that companionship. And there's these hormones that are released, serotonin, oxytocin, a lot of feel-good stuff that, like serotonin and oxytocin, occurs both in men and women. Women receive oxytocin. We both receive oxytocin with physical touch, contact. That's the bonding hormone. That's the love hormone. That is what we are made with as humans, to have the desire to stay together and procreate. And women are built with oxytocin, and they have cortisol, and they have the serotonin and all. And they also have vasopressin, so the vasopressin is more of on the male side. That's the chemical that is released that encourages us to protect, to solve, to take action, to fight. So when you hear a baby cry, or you see your girl upset and crying, you're going to get a dump of vasopressin. That's what puts you in, I got to fix this mode, like protect, comfort, solve this problem immediately, take action, fix. And so through the relationship, in the beginning phases, the limerence phases, they call it the honeymoon phase. This is where you're going to get the highest and heaviest doses of these chemicals for each other. And that's what that's what love is. That's what falling in love is with somebody. Through the process of spending time together, bonding, connecting, physical touch, sex, conversations. Like, there's certain things that your body becomes accustomed to. They have a steady flow of these things in a lot lesser degree after the honeymoon phase passes. But there's still a steady influx of it that you're not even aware of, because at some point it just normalizes, kind of levels off. And it could be, and what this person will do oftentimes in long-term relationships, they can have an effect of both ways. If you're not on great terms and they call you, and it could piss you off, and you have a dump of adrenaline and cortisol. Now you're aggravated, or you're angry, or you're nervous because you just don't want to fucking deal with this problem right now. But on the other hand, when you're doing well and you're getting along and you're connected and things are going good, the sex is plentiful, the hugs and kisses are good, the kind thoughts and words are exchanged, and your normal day-to-day functional healthy relationship stuff, you're just getting the steady doses of the oxytocin, serotonin. You're going to get your natural flow of cortisol in the morning. Like when you first wake up, your cortisol is the highest. That's the stress hormone. If you get into a situation, you're going to get adrenaline dump. If you're doing something fun, or you get yourself riled up, or you're about to get in a fight or something, you're going to get those stress hormones dumped. So what happens is, in a breakup, it's essentially withdrawing from drugs. In a breakup, the same chemical receptors are the same receptors that were pumping are immediately cut off. The same thing when you quit doing heroin. They've done a study on the brain of a heroin addict going through withdrawals and a breakup. And it is the same exact chemical makeup. That's where the pain comes from. Then you get this separation anxiety because you're getting an adrenaline and a cortisol dump. If you're a man, you're getting a vasopressin dump. And you see, this is what happens in the beginning of a breakup that sends a man charging in. I got to fix it. We got to talk about it. She would just listen to me. If I could just tell her that I know what I did wrong and I'll fix it and I'm going to change and this. And it's just like this panic almost, because you're getting a heavy dose of vasopressin because the thing you love, the thing you bonded with, that oxytocin has been cut off. Especially when that realization hits you, it's like, bam, you going into withdrawals like a heroin addict. And that starts off the cycle of the sleepless nights, the lack of focus, the self-esteem's in the tank. Did I say loss of appetite? No appetite. Or you go from the opposite to overeating for comfort. Not sleeping to sleeping too damn much because you're depressed, not wanting to get out of bed. You can't get up and function and face day-to-day life, and that's what it's like. So in the beginning, where all right, we talked about that. Let me go to the beginnings of the breakup. And what happens is the dumpy is caught off guard. What they don't understand is the dumper, this wasn't an overnight decision. Now, sometimes if you have a bad fight, and you say, that's it, I'm done with this. I can't do this anymore. It's over. And that's usually an impulsive thing. You're not going to find that too much with healthy people. It does happen, though. Nobody's immune from having an outburst. But the dumper has been contemplating this for a while. And if you really look back and pay attention, and this is, look, a lot of men are guilty. I've been guilty of this. You lose focus. You start, the best way I can put it is you get complacent and you start taking the relationship for granted. And we quit showing up in certain places. Now, look, I'm not saying some guys don't have it tough who've had an ungrateful woman. We're not even going to get into that. I'm talking in terms of a healthy, somewhat healthy, mature, loving relationship. Everybody comes across fucking bad deals where you just get an ungrateful woman. And that's something more you need to look at after the breakup at yourself, why you're choosing somebody like that, or why you allow yourself to be in that position. So we're not even going to get into all that. That's another topic in another show. So this dumper has been contemplating this for weeks, months. Sometimes, like in marriages, years. The dumper has been thinking about this and telling themselves, maybe this is just a phase. Maybe I'll see. And what happens is their needs are not being met in some way, shape, or form. And you're not showing up in a relationship as you should be. This person feels neglected, unappreciated, unheard, not being understood, not being heard, neglected. And look, a lot of men are guilty of this. A lot of men. This is why this very scenario is years ago is what put me into the space doing this work, because that's what happened to me. And it's a hard pill to swallow, but you'll live, trust me. And what happens is the dumper has been looking at this for a long time. So over time, by the time they get to the conversation that says, I can't do this anymore, they have been thinking about this for months, weeks minimum. This has already been on their mind. And so they're prepared. Now, it may be rough or hurt them a little bit, but they've already done the grieving. They've already replayed how we're going to do it. How am I going to say it? They've already looked at all the reasons and the causes, and it's not always reality, but they think on their end, they've done everything they can to try to fix the relationship or change the course or to be recognized. That's why communication comes in. Some of the dumpers think they did try when in fact they didn't communicate clearly, like, hey, this relationship's falling apart. I don't feel attended to. I don't feel understood. I don't feel appreciated. I'm getting a little concerned about that. It usually doesn't happen like that. They try to come at you indirectly or sideways. But once it gets to a certain point and they've invested that much time into contemplating the breakup, by the time they get to it, they've already broken up with you in their head, in their spirit. And their attraction has already lowered to the point where they can make that ultimate decision of that they don't want you in their life anymore. That essentially they've lost attraction to the point where they view you as better off out of their life than in it. That's ultimately, at the end of the day, underneath it all, the end of a relationship is a loss of attraction. It's simple as that. And, the reasons depend. It's a case-by-case basis. Obviously, this explanation is just going to be a broad stroke, a broad brush I'm going to paint this whole thing with. But at the end of the day, it's a loss of attraction, a loss of emotional attraction. It could be physical, but physical is usually the last thing. People think that's the first thing. That's not. It's an emotional attraction. that connection everybody talks about. I don't feel connected. And so by the time they get there, and this is news to the dumpy, because the whole time you thinking, it's not perfect, but we'll fix it. She's not going anywhere. I got this to do. I got this. It's not that bad. Yeah, I notice a few things, but I'm so busy. I can't right now. And that's just what it is. So but then by this point, when the dumper breaks the news and tells you that, they get the sigh of relief, the relief phase. And they're relieved to have gotten this hard thing that they've been dwelling in for months, weeks. They've gotten it off their chest and they've done it. They got this new sense of power. And whether you like it or not, whether the person who's broken up with you doesn't mean they're a narcissist or an egomaniac, but they're going to think they're better than you. They got the upper hand. They have control now, essentially. They're essentially in the control position. And as the dumpy, you're feeling is a loss of control. And you're starting to try to make sense of all this. Like, what the fuck? Like, can't we talk about this? Like, come on. It's like, are we going to end a relationship because of this? But they've already got their mind made up. And they're going to, at first, most people, yeah, DT, but they don't, not everybody lines up a replacement. That's a misnomer that people think that everybody who breaks up has a replacement lined up. That's not true. That is not true. They have people who just have had enough and are healthy enough to call the relationship off, heal, and then go find somebody. It just could be to a point where they've had enough. And for whatever reasons, whatever their reasoning is, that they're not satisfied. The relationship has caused them, they have more negative association than they do positive association, which is essentially the loss of attraction. And so they're feeling a great sense of relief and control. Like they have the upper hand. They're in a power position now. And the dumpy is blindsided. They can't believe it just happened. And they thinking, oh shit, I got to fix this. Let's talk about it. There's nothing to be said at this moment. And look, I've never met a person yet who's come to me and said, I've never met a person in my entire life who has ever proactively researched and studied how to be dumped, how to be out of a relationship. I've never met a person say, I proactively took a stance on how to effectively be a dumpy in a relationship with somebody that I love. Just in case I get dumped one day, I'll know how to handle it. I've yet to meet a person who does that. So in the beginning, initially, at the onset, and this is not, a matter of fact, I don't think it's a bad thing that if you in fact want this person back and you want to keep this person, and look, there are conditions. If they've cheated on you and dumped you for somebody else, I'll help you heal, but I'm not going to help you get that person back. And you should just go through the process of healing yourself, doing the work as if you would have done being broken up with, looking to get your ex back. Do the same work and find somebody better because you'll be a different person. Hopefully by the time I get through with you, you're not even going to consider taking that person back. But you thinking, so you start to do, you over pursue, you get to begging, pleading, like trying to state your case. You trying to apply logic to her emotional decision. See, what happens is her emotional attraction has dropped low enough to the point where that's it, you're out of my life. You're trying to logic her back in by explaining how good of a couple y'all were, how you're going to fix this, how you'll change. And you desperately, you're doing these grand gestures, like all these things that a person in grief would normally do to try to get, because like if a woman tells you, I felt unappreciated and unattended, you say, well, that's easy. I can fix that. But at that point, it's too late. I'll take you to dinner. I'll pay attention to you more. We'll do more stuff together. It's too late. In their mind, they've already tried to get you to do that and you didn't pay attention. So anyway, what it amounts to is you spend some time trying to keep them and trying to get them back. You're in a sheer fucking panic and you're desperately trying to salvage the relationship. But what you don't understand is this person's got their mind made up. They've built up months or weeks of fortitude to be able to sit down and have this difficult conversation with you. And if it's easy for somebody to do that, you're dating a sociopath and you just assume get away. It's not easy for that person to dump somebody that they love. They love you, but not on an emotionally attractive level, not a physical attractiveness either. It's not like that. They don't want to hurt you, but they've already put themselves above you now. So at first they're going to try to listen. They're going to say, I'm sorry. That's just how I feel. I'm sorry. I didn't want to hurt you. And they'll tell you shit like, don't wait on me. It's not fair. Go see other people. I'm moving on. And at first they're going to be nice, but the more you push, the more you bet. Because now all you're doing is reminding them that they did in fact hurt you. Then they're going to start getting angry with you because now they're being framed as the bad guy in the situation. So at some point, this guy finds me and he's in a panic. I want to get my ex back. And here's what I tell everybody. It's called the no contact rule. It's a strategy. It's not a manipulation. It's a healthy strategy. It's a healthy solution and answer to a breakup. And then the same question comes, well, how long? Not a mind reader. I can't tell you how long. Well, what about, can I call one last time and tell her I'm going to no? Like, no, you don't tell people you're going to no contact. This is not just, and when I explain this to people, they don't want to hear it. It takes a couple of weeks for them to really wrap their heads around, like, this is not about me getting your ex back for you. This no contact is about you having some fucking dignity, bowing out with some dignity and respectfully granting them what they asked for. And that is the breakup. Now, is a byproduct of that your best chance to hear from them again? Absolutely. Because in the moment, these people have dumped you. And in the moment, that seems right. And 99% of people who dump somebody else aren't really 100% sure that that's what they want to do. But in the moment, they are. And the only thing they have to remember you by is what they had just gone through with you, in the breakup. And obviously that was a negative because they're breaking up with you. So that's the only thing they have to go by as far as association to you and y'all's relationship. And that you're not going to help your case by trying to negotiate and logic your way back into their heart. So you do what's called no contact. And what you do at this time, so what that means is you make no attempt to contact this person. No text, no calls, no letters, no pop-ups at the house, no driving by, no social media, no liking posts, no nothing. You cease all contact. No birthdays, no holidays, not Kwanzaa, not Hanukkah, not Christmas, not birthday, not any day. And so he was like, well, don't you think that's a little childish? That, like, shouldn't we talk through this? Well, buddy, I'm here to tell you, you tried that. This is beyond a conversation. Now, if you say, can we talk about this? And they say yes, then yes. You've already begged. You've already pleaded. And the shorter amount of time you do that, the better. Now, I don't think there's anything wrong with making it very clear that I do not want this breakup. I want to work through this. We're great together. I think we can work through this and come out on the other end closer, deeper connected and have a better relationship in the long term for this. You can say that. And if they still disagree with you and don't want to be with you, you got to walk away. You have to walk away. Because anything after that, the harder you push, the further they're going to run. The faster you chase, the further they run. And I've seen this happen where you're going to wind up in the legal system and you're going to wind up pushing them into somebody else's arms. Because I've seen where the girl would jump into a rebound. That happens. And, you know, the guy tries to go and destroy that, mess it up. And all you're doing is pushing them closer into somebody else's arms and reinforcing why they broke up with you being a good idea. So the respectful, dignified, healthiest form, the healthiest way you can deal with this is to give them the breakup. It's not childish. You've tried the conversation. You've stated clearly. You've made it abundantly clear, crystal clear that this is not what you want. They still didn't want to hear it. Now you have to give it to them. You don't have to be angry about it. You don't have to say, I'm going to show you. I'm not going to call you. You don't have to be vindictive about it. That's not what it's about. And I know it's pitched on the internet. Get your ex back through no contact, and they have the 30-day rule, 30-day, 45. There's no time limit. There's no time limit. And look, there are exceptions. If you have bills, if you got kids, you know, if you got legal matters to sort out, of course you're going to have to contact them. But in that case, it's strictly business. You got some legal stuff to attend, or you got children. It's strictly business. That's all you're doing, exchanging. You say nothing about the relationship, nothing about the breakup, no talks, no how are you. And you can be polite. I mean, I think you should always be respectful and polite. The last thing you want to do is come across all butthurt. No, you don't want to talk to me. I'm picking up the kids and leaving. You don't do that. That's childish. That's immature. And that's not attractive. What you're trying to do with this process is take a step back from that. It's going to suck. I promise you that. That's one I guarantee I can tell you it's going to fucking suck. That's just part of the process. But it's like getting broken up. Like I told you, it's like withdrawing from heroin. Like it takes a while for those chemicals to stabilize. And in the meantime, what you need to focus on is yourself, whether this person comes back or not. Because if you apply no contact properly and you using this time and space away to do the work you're supposed to be doing to level yourself up, if she does come back, you're going to be a different person. You're going to be attractive again. And what it takes time to rebuild that attraction is time and space. You've got to give them that distance so they can really see if they want you out of their life, if they really want to break up. They got to see for themselves. And the quicker you step back, not only does that stop the running effect. So when you stop and you disappear, they don't have to run anymore. Then they can really, you have to let them have this relief phase. They got to go through the relief. They got to say, they got to breathe this out and take this experience in. And, you know, they got all these grandiose ideas. They're going to start traveling and go make new friends and go hang out with this and go do that and do all these things that they couldn't do in the relationship. And, you know, for some reason, they think it's some kind of fantasy world out there where things magically change and they were missing out on so much. You'll often see, if you just give them the time and space, that they're going to see it's not what it's all. They chalked it up to be in their head. There's not anything really interesting going on out there. Not better than a relationship with you. But you got to let them see that with themselves. And then what you're going to do is take a step back and go inward. Now it's time to shore up everything that you were lacking, everything that you're limited in, working on your flaws and your faults, and building on your strengths. If you work with me, you go into the gym. Non-negotiable. You join in the gym, and we get you on a workout program immediately. And they say, why? Well, you said physical attraction. Yes. Not only does it matter how you carry yourself physically, it's the process of committing your time, your discipline, commitment, and consistency. That's a recipe for success. Committing to the process, displaying discipline, going when you absolutely don't feel like going because you have to go, not because you feel like it, and consistently doing those, repeating those steps consistently. But you're not only just going to do, you're not only going to do the gym. There's a lot of other things you're going to look at. You're going to start looking inward as, what was it? Were you being needy? Were you being insecure? Were you overbearing? Were you not attentive? Do you have this anxious attachment style, this avoidant attachment style? How do you view yourself? Like, you're not going to find a better time in life to thrust yourself into the work necessary to change yourself fundamentally to your core as a man than when you're in pain from a breakup. And this is where you're going to gather those resources. Through me, we're going to work through that. And I recommend therapy. You got to be very careful with therapists. I mean, you got to do a lot of screening. But I even have a guy that does online. Great therapist. Real squared away guy who's all about the masculine mindset and all this stuff that I preach. That's somebody I use regularly as a life coach and a therapist. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's things that I need to run through people that I don't quite grasp and understand. This is why I tell people, get a mentor. You're having a breakup, get a coach. If you're starting a business, get a business mentor. Hire somebody that you cut in on your jobs to take you through processes. That's what I do. Every successful person I know has a mentor in multiple areas of their life. Investment. This guy knows a millionaire. He's a world-renowned horse trainer. I mean, there's nothing you could tell this guy about training a championship horse. He's won a Kentucky Derby, to Dubai race in Dubai multiple times, Kentucky Derby. His horses. He has mentors. He has people who take care of stuff that he doesn't quite understand. And this guy is as successful as he comes. He's a millionaire many times over. And that's part of the investing in yourself, because that's what we're going to do. You're going to take this no contact period and invest into yourself. So whether she comes back around, comes to her senses and wants to revisit things, because let me tell you something. If you just spend your time social media stalking her, nervous, doing self-destructive things like going out and drinking and, trying to fuck your pain away, having sex with a bunch of different women and drinking and drugs and, finding some rowdy crowd to go get involved in excitement. And if she comes back, you're not even going to be as good as a guy as you was when she left. You're going to be worse off. And the issues are still going to be there, and you're going to destroy the relationship all over again. You're going to be back at square one, and the second time hurts worse than the first time. So whether she comes back or not, what you want to do is move forward in life, a new and improved 2.0 version of yourself. And that way, when somebody does come along, it could be somebody better. And I've told many guys this, and nobody believes me in the beginning. But after you've done this work, you may not want her back. You very well may not. You're a changed person. What are the chances do you think the person does a dumping? They have this air of superiority now. Like they find themselves to be the more attractive, and oh, he's chasing me. I must be special. I must be awesome. There must be nothing wrong with me. What are the chances you think the person doing a dumping is going to do work on themselves and reflect and do some deep reflection and introspection and deep inner work and looking at their traumas and their flaws and their character flaws and going to shore up anything mentally and emotionally that's unstable? It's very rare that happens. You might not even be a match for this person when they come back. You might get back with them and like, what the fuck was I thinking? Like, oh, we never, is this what it is? I don't remember it being like this, but it's not the same. And you go find somebody better for you. But in any case, what you don't want to do, and I've seen this happen where the guy runs off, plays the victim. She's a whore. She's a bitch. She's a liar. Can't believe she did that. Hates the world. She comes back. He's so resentful and he's all bitter, resentful, has done zero work on himself. In a worse position, she immediately recognizes, yep, I was right. Leaves again. And this person won't even put himself out there to be open to a healthy, loving relationship again. Settles for somebody who he views less than him, so he doesn't have to worry about being hurt again. Get somebody who he believes is beneath him as a safe option, and settles for the rest of his life. I've seen that. I've seen that many times. More often than I've seen the guy who steps back and says, all right, I have work to do. It was something in this relationship that I contributed to not working. And look, I'm not letting the other person off the hook. A successful, healthy relationship takes two people, and it takes two people to keep that together, and it takes two people to end one to where it doesn't work out. But that's not the point. We can't worry about it. What they do now is none of our business. And if a guy had told me, the guy said, if I had one guy come to me and said, I want my ex back, and another guy come back to me and said, I want to move on, we would do the exact same thing. So it's the same process either way. That's what you got to do. And that's your best chance. If you want an ex back, that's your best chance. Because it usually happens a few months down after you've done the work, you've completely left them alone. And I'm talking, not try to find reasons to bump into them accidentally. Find some reason, because what happens is in that space, your absence, at some point, the negativity begins to sink. This is called the faded effect bias. And it's an evolutionary, it's in our DNA as humans from our prehistoric days when you couldn't afford, we didn't have grocery stores, and we didn't have buses, and we didn't have builders and electricity. So anything you had to get, you had to go out, you had to hunt, you had to gather, you had to fight. You know, it was tribal times. You had war, like real deal shit, but people would come take your village and kill everybody. And you were in constant danger. And it's a response to its evolutionary programming that allows us to still function and carry on with life despite suffering traumatic experiences. Like if Cave Joe and Cave DT went out on a hunting party, and I seen Cave DT get mauled by a saber-toothed tiger, and that's probably be pretty traumatic, watching a wild animal tear my buddy from limb to limb and eat his face. So I go back to my cave, and I'm so traumatized that I'm paralyzed with fear, never wanting to step foot out the cave again. Well, guess what? If I don't step out the cave, my family doesn't eat. And I get banned from the village because I'm not contributing. And I'm a dead man. We don't have that option back then. So what it is the negative experience will subside. We're programmed to do this now, to forget about the negative and start remembering the positive. Well, I knew he got mauled by a tiger, but last time we came home with a whole mammoth and the whole village ate. Everybody cheered for us. We had delicious mammoth meat, and we fed the village for a week. Man, that felt good. Like, I love eating every night, and my kids look healthy. So you start to forget, just like if you get in a car accident or you get in a bicycle accident. You don't, at first it could be traumatic, especially if you've ever been in a major car wreck. Like, that'll scare the fuck out of you. You might get a little nightmare or something. You might have some slight PTSD in the beginning. But eventually you drive again, and before you know it, you're driving 80 miles an hour again with one hand, texting while you're driving. You get forgotten all about the consequence, the bad stuff. So the same thing occurs in a breakup where this person, now you've had positive experience with this person. You've bonded, you've attached, You've shared great times, great memories. And over time, as the time and space gets longer and longer, and the distance gets further and further, those negative experiences begin to dissolve. And it's then they starting to see you through rose-colored glasses. Then they got to start to look at the relationship through these rose-tinted glasses. So I remember, well, he was a great kisser. Man, the sex was good. And he had the cutest laugh. And he knew how to park. And he could barbecue really good. And she starts thinking about all these positive qualities about you. Then they start to think, well, shit, I really liked him. I wonder if he's out there attracting other women. He must be, because I found him attractive. Wait a minute. Somebody going after my man. So this is when they come out of the relief phase. This is the curiosity phase. And they start getting curious. I wonder what he's up to. Not only have you gone off, done the work, and proven to them that you can live without them, you're displaying, you're demonstrating self-respect and strength. So if you were showing weakness in the relationship, which a lot of men do, it happens. You can't be, James Bond, Playboy pimp 1,000% of the time. That's just inconceivable for any human being who has any sort of life, where you're going to have to deal with shit, because sometimes things get overwhelming. You don't handle it right. You get flustered. And you shouldn't be in a relationship that's expected of you to do that anyway. Be in a relationship with somebody who can understand and is well enough calibrated mentally and emotionally to understand life happens and not everybody can sustain top shelf fucking performance all the time. So what's happened is they start getting curious. I wonder if he's dating. I haven't heard from him. And maybe he's stronger than I thought. I do remember that one time he went through this thing, and that was pretty sexy the way he handled that. So they start having these little peaks of curiosity. But that's not it. And this is why you stay away. And then they start thinking, well, they can really live without me. Maybe they're more valuable than I thought. Maybe they're worth more than I thought. Maybe I overreacted. Well, now that I look back at it, I probably could have done things different too. This is when they start playing back. And you starting to gain a little strength and momentum back because you've been off doing work. You've been off improving yourself. It doesn't feel great, but it doesn't matter. Who gives a fuck how you feel? You've been putting the reps in, and you don't see it yet, but you're improving. And you're not going to know until it's time. It's all theory until you put to the test. I tell people that all the time. All this work is theory until you put to the test. As far as the gym goes, 2-3 months down the line, somebody say, damn, you've been working out? That's it. There's your evidence. You're going to be in a situation and you walk away and realize, damn, I handled that pretty fucking good. Damn, that didn't even affect me. Evidence. Work is done. Work is being done, making progress. She's going to see that too. And there's just something in the ether, something in the universe, that when you start to accept the fact that she's not coming back and you're okay, that's when they appear. Every time. I can't say every time. Sometimes exes don't come back. That's the ugly truth. But the whole purpose is no contact. If you keep contacting them, even if it's you wait a month and all you're doing is reminding them like, hey, I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere. Take your time. I'm still thinking about you. That's not what you want. That's genuinely not what you want to do, is have them feel secure. And they say, well, if I love her, don't you think she'd want to feel safe and secure? You tried to make her feel safe and secure. She rejected that. She wanted the breakup. This is not a game. It's not a manipulation. It's not a tool to manipulate, to coerce somebody, like reverse psychology. They have this guy on the internet that says the only proven way to get your ex back is reverse psychology. Those are grifters. That's called manipulation. Do you want to have to manipulate somebody back into your life? No. If you do, call me, because we got work to do. You have to offer any woman a quality life. You have value. That's your appeal. But you have to understand that to be able to give that to somebody else. And so what you do is, as you're doing this work, you're going to start internalizing this. Like, damn, I am pretty fucking valuable. I am worth a shit. I am good looking. I am a good quality catch. Then you start thinking like that. Then you start behaving like that. Then you start getting treated like that. You don't get treated like that, then go backwards into believing it. You believe it, display it, then you get treated like that. That's the way it goes. But it's quality and it's real. That new confidence you have, it's yours. Your self-esteem, that's yours, genuinely, because you've earned it. That new perspective you have of yourself and life and relationships and adversity, that's all yours, genuinely now, because you did it. And nobody can take that from you. And once you understand and you have a hold of that, you're unstoppable at that point. That's why I tell you, 2.0 at minimum, you can level up your life. You can level up your life and with this experience. And when I tell guys it's the best thing that's ever happened to you, I've had one guy start crying and saying he doesn't want this to happen. I said, this is the best thing that's ever happened to you. You don't even know it. Trust me. But then there's I'm getting to that, DT. Is he still on here? Greens, if you're here, give me a 1 in the chat. Then, so the curiosity phase, she starts thinking about, just starts rethinking things. Well, maybe it wasn't that bad. He seems to be doing okay. He hasn't called me. The last time I saw him, he was a pathetic mess, begging me to stay with him. Like he just dropped off the face of the earth. He must be doing okay, I think. I wonder if he's seeing anybody. Who's got him? Well, I found him attractive. Somebody else must find him attractive. Who's that bitch? Who can he be? Then you start seeing little things like the social media stalking. Then it goes from curiosity to concern. And this is typically when you're going to hear from that person, is during the concern. And it's not what you think. They're not going to come knock on your door on a bended knee begging your forgiveness. You're going to get some bullshit text like, hey, where's that place we ate that time? Or some shit out of left field. Hey, I think I left a toothbrush at your house. Or how's your cat? Or, hey, you remember that show we watched that came on when we watched it 2 years ago in bed? And it's so funny. I just saw it. I saw a rerun. It made me think about you. How you doing? It's called the indirect approach. Every once in a blue moon, you have like a girl just say, look, I miss you. How are you? I had that happen. I miss you. You're like, what the fuck? Damn. You're going to get some shit out of left field. That's just them, because you got to remember, now they start, by the time they get to concern, now they're questioning if you want them. Because you've left them alone. You've dropped off the face of the earth. They have no idea what you're doing, where you're at, and what state of mind you're in. They don't know if you're angry at them, if you've gotten over them, if you've moved on, if you started dating somebody. They don't want to look like a damn fool coming in and say, I miss you. And you're like, so? I don't miss you. I'm dating. That's rejection. Nobody wants to be rejected, especially women. Women don't do rejection as well as men. It's a fact. And they avoid it more than men. We have to. As men, you got to walk into rejection. If you want to get anywhere in life and accomplish anything, you just got to get used to being rejected. That's a simple fact. That should be like wiping your ass. Rejection is a part of life, but then that's what you're going to hear from. And then it's at that point, it's your decision to see it forward or not. But then you got to know how to do it. The reconnection phase. You're starting all over. You're in a new relationship now. That old relationship is over. It's gone. Don't go back and treat it. Don't try to pick up where you left off. And you got to let them earn you back. You can help them a little bit, but they got to earn you back. That was their decision. They unilaterally decided to change the terms of y'all's agreement. They blew the relationship up. They have legwork to do. In another show, we'll get into what that looks like. And we'll do another show about what to do after the whole no contact process. But so I hope I made it a good explanation. I hope y'all understand better. I'm gonna get to these questions. Greens, I don't know if he's still here. I think he bugged out on us, DT. Well, listen, if you can't wait a few minutes for an explanation on somebody's show, maybe you're not ready for this no contact thing, buddy. If you're that impatient, you want my attention like that, call me for a paid session. You'll get my full undivided attention for an hour, and I'll show you how to do this effectively moving forward. And you'll never have to experience this again in your life by the time I'm finished with you. You'll know exactly what to do moving forward to not lose the relationship. Even though I have. I'm not perfect. But I didn't practice what I preached either. And it happened. It does happen. Henry, how do you feel about people drinking or going to bars? To each his own. I don't drink. I am an alcoholic. I don't drink. Drinking is poison. It's death to me. I don't discourage it. I still go to bars every now and then. I went to a bar last Sunday to watch the LSU baseball game. I'm not uncomfortable at bars. It's not my scene after a certain point. But there's this place that's kind of civil, and it's an open, it's on the lake. It's an open air bar. I know the bartenders. The crowd's pretty nice, friendly. You get some stragglers come in, but I don't have to deal with them. A lot of pretty girls. Some, not all. And, mild-mannered, older people who genuinely just want to get out and socialize and have a little fun and get some fresh air and drink some good booze. I don't discourage it. They do have downside. I mean, if you're in a place where you put alcohol in a situation, shit gets out of hand. At some point, usually later into the night, everybody's sauced up. That's when the fighting, the arguing, the trouble, that's when all that shit starts. I don't like to be around that. So I'm usually out by then anyway. I haven't stayed out late. Well, one night we went to a fight, a boxing match, and stayed out till like 3 a.m. But that's way out of character for me. I'm usually home and in bed pretty early. But no, I mean, if you're younger, you drink. If you can drink socially and enjoy it, go for it. I don't think alcohol is good for men. It kills your testosterone, screws your gains up. But alcohol is also sex fuel. So, I mean, if you can sit and have a couple drinks with a hot chick, you got a better chance of getting laid. So, as long as you ain't getting all stupid and putting yourself in danger, you're not drinking and driving, you don't drink and get up rambunctious and obnoxious and want to fight everybody, yeah, go for it. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't judge people who drink. Everybody I know drink, just about everybody. Just know your limits and watch where you go. Pay attention to the crowd. You have intuition. You know when shit's about to go down. Just get yourself out of there. Keep your head on a swivel. Well, tell you what, DT, he's not here, but I'm going to answer his question anyway. Dude, it's been 4 months, no contact. Do I give up? Depends. I don't know what you did for 4 months. If you've, let's see, I just quit drinking. It's not worth it now that I'm wiser. How old are you, Henry? And how long have you quit drinking? Yeah, I've been sober. I'm going on 3 years. I had 11 years before that. I'm going on 3 years. Had a bad patch and wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. And I drank again. It got out of hand quick. 26 and a week, sir. Congratulations, brother. That's a great achievement. Great achievement. People think I say that lightly. For somebody with a drinking problem, a 1 day is a miracle. I see it all the time. And the 26, man, look, you still got the world by the nuts, dude. You can do anything you want. And quitting drinking is a great start. Congratulations. Good for you, sir. I'm proud of you. Keep up the good work and build on it. Keep us posted on here. Let us know you stay and stopped. Check in with us. It's a Great accomplishment. Anyway, back to greens. I don't know. I don't know what you did for 4 months. Did you contact her a few times? What have you been doing with your time? Do you want her back? What was the pretense of the breakup? If it was a normal situation and a healthy breakup, I'd say the longest you wait is about 6 months before you move on. I'd say minimum 2.5, 3 months before you start considering dating anybody seriously. I recommend 3 months of intensive self-work before you open yourself up to any other experiences with people. If not, you're just going to be bringing some baggage in. It's not going to work out. I mean, I'm not saying never. Chances are. And if you want that person back, like I said, just follow the same process as if you were moving on without them. And just throw yourself into yourself. Go after it. Go after the work, the self-work, relentlessly, ruthlessly. Remove anything negative that you can remove out of your life out. And fill every negative nook and cranny with positive, constructive things that are only going to make you better day to day. Little bitty things. I don't give a shit. It's the time you get out of bed. If you don't in the morning when you first get up, drink a glass of water. Like little things. Everything you can do to check put a check in the W box, the win box. And it's these little micro habits that you do over time that build up to the big success and the big change. And that's a lot of people don't understand. Work with me, we're going to get you on a program like that. That's the whole purpose of this time apart. A but of no contact is done right and given the time and space respectfully. Most oftentimes, an X will circle back around. That's my experience. More times than not. So, to give up, I'd say 6 months. I've had an X circle back 1.5 years later. So, that's up to you. I was clearly moved on by then, but I've had shit. By the time I was married, I had this chick I dated like 15 years before that come back around. But I was already married, obviously. I'm not going to entertain that. But yeah, telling me some shit. She remembered how good I treated her. Well, if I treated you so good, when the fuck did we break up? I don't even remember like how we broke up. I don't remember who broke up with who. That was so long ago. But she remembered. That's my whole point. Like, you never know. But 4 months on, you should be at the point where you're at least neutral about getting them back or not. At least neutral. 4 months is a pretty good mark to be okay with what happened and like being able to see something that reminds you of them without being heart-wrenching and gut-wrenching. That's it. If I don't have any questions here immediately, I'm going to go ahead and shut it down. I think that was a pretty good description. And there's no questions. We're going to close it up. And I want to thank everybody again for coming in. I really appreciate y'all. Don't forget to hit that like button if you haven't. Do you have any stories about realizing someone wasn't really a friend? I got a ton. Now I know I can smell that shit a mile away. And And I'm glad you brought this up. This is a great question. I do have stories, and I'm not going to get into the stories, but I can, because we're about 1 hour and 5. I'll go to about 1 hour and 10, 15. See how we can explain this real quick. What you got to look for is not everybody who approaches you and is nice to you is your friend. You got to look for agreeability. You got to look for how they treat you around other people, how they treat other people. Do they gossip a lot to you about other people? What is the relationship they have with their family, their loved ones? Like, there's some information you got to see. Like, do they low key try to fucking dish you all the time? And like, oh, I'm just kidding. Oh, I'm just kidding. That's not a friend. That's people. That's toxic, dysfunctional people. People who gossip a lot to you about other people that's in their life, probably doing the same thing to you to somebody else. Got to watch that. Watch how they treat other people. Like, they're very judgmental of, like, if you're in a crowd and there's some strangers, do they like, oh, look at this douchebag, look at this idiot, look at the way he dresses. Like, people who have that arrogant air about them, I got no time for people like that. Do they support you when you tell them you have a, say you, and this is why I'm very private, you share an idea with them and you're like, nah, that ain't gonna work. I tried that, or, oh, I know somebody who did that and nah, it didn't work out. Trust me, that's not gonna work. That's a stupid idea. That's a bad idea. Or they give you every reason why it'll never work because this has been looked at and this, oh, in the past, it's not friends. Your friends are people, let me tell you, I'll tell you what a friend is, and then you can tell me. Then you know what to look for, the opposite of who's not your friend. Your friends will, A, support you and encourage you to do well, which support and encourage you to do well also means calling you out on your bullshit. I surround myself with people that don't let me get away with feeling sorry for myself or lying to myself. And I do the same for them. If you and your friends are around chicks, and like an example, if y'all out one night, there's a couple of y'all, and then you go over and you talk to this group of chicks, and like, and the one chick you're looking at says, "Who's your friend?" That's his now. Like, that's my boy. Fucking bad motherfucker. You want a meeting? Come on, let me introduce you to him. Let me take over there. You introduce him. Then you make your friend look like a G. Like, this is this is Stacy. She was over there asking about you. I told her about you. Y'all want something? I'm gonna run to the bar. You need a drink, man? What y'all drinking? Let me get you something. Here, y'all sit here. You know, you kind of you build your boy up. You build your friends up. They tell you they got an idea. Say, man, that is fucking awesome. That's a great idea. What are you thinking? How far out you looking at putting this in play? Oh, really? Man, look, anything I can do to help you, let me know. That's what friends do. And also, I'm going to say, dude, that was fucked up. Why would you do that? Why would you say that? Like, that's no good. That's bullshit. That's low character shit. I don't want to be around people who do that. That's what I do to my friends too. Take that shit elsewhere. No. Or if they're wrong. Nope, you're wrong, dude. Sorry. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. But let's talk about a solution. That's a friend. And of course, you're going to be there for moral support. A friend, somebody you can lean on in hard times to a degree. Because you can wear your friends out, like going through a breakup. They'll hear a little bit of that shit. Eventually, they're going to tell you, all right, that's enough. I'm sick of hearing about this shit. But you'll do that naturally to people. That's why I always say, get a paid coach or a therapist. They got to listen to you. And they don't mind. They don't want to see you suffer. They don't mind helping you absorb some of that burden. And they'll be there for you to a degree. For as long as they can tolerate. It's not their business to baby you through a breakup anyway. Be a good listening ear, a sounding board, so you can just vent and maybe cry in your fucking beer. Yeah. And you should have friends that you go to, whereas if you are in a relationship and you have women in your life, that you have people you can go discuss your stresses and dislikes about life with. It's not topics you want to have with your woman. Oh, I had a hard day at work and this customer's not doing this and that. And this guy at work is saying shit. And you don't want to go home with that. You got a friends group that you can go to it. And he can tell you, well, quit being a bitch, or fucking do something about it, or yeah, I know I've had that happen. It's messed up. Here's how I dealt with it. Then he might have a good idea for you. That's what friends do. Yes, wingmen are your true friends, but true friends are each other's wingman. You got to take a fat friend out of the picture, and that's your job. It's your job to slay the dragon, brother. If and that's what I was talking about earlier. If you meet chicks and your boys engaged with a girl, like I don't play shit where people try to make you look bad in front of women. That's the first sign of a weak ass man who will sell you the fuck out. I cannot stand men who do that. Try to make you look bad in front of other people. Ooh, that's a non-negotiable for me. The first time you do that to me is the last time you do that to me. You could ask anybody I know about that, and ask the people about who I've done that to. Facts, man. Good evening, sir. Another awesome podcast. Thank you, Henry. Thank you for tuning in. Hit that like on your way out. Thank you for participating. And that's it, fellas. That's all we're going. 1 minute 11. 111. So yeah, thank you again, everybody. Thank you, Joel. Thank you, DT, for coming in, handling the chat for me. One day you got to get your reps in, brother. We're gonna have a full chat one day. You're gonna have to be kicking people and shit. And we'll get to your topic, I promise. And thanks, everybody. And I'll see y'all next Wednesday, same place, same time.